With this workflow, you can post directly to Twitter X directly from Slack or other messaging platform with just text, with images, or even using Google Drive links instead of uploading images, and it'll post it directly to your Twitter X account. All right, let's take a look at how this bot actually works. So let's come over to Slack real quick. I'm just gonna drag over an image, boom, like that. Post this in here. Now the image is a picture of me. It's a selfie I took yesterday during a live community call that I have with my school group. And I just say, post this image to Twitter and say how fun it is to be able to hold live classes with my school community. Easy enough, right? So let the bot process for a second. What's happening is it's gonna take the image, it's gonna add its credentials and its information to a Google Sheet that I have. It's then going to process my request. It's gonna see if it's the top level message in a Slack thread. If it is, it's just going to bypass my Postgres memory. If it's part of a thread, it's going to pull out my Postgres memory so I have the full conversation history. It's then going to run through some logic to determine whether I've attached an image in some way, shape, or form if I'm asking for just a text post. If I'm asking for a Google Drive post, so I have a link to Google Drive in there, or if I've attached an image. And if so, then it's going to upload the image. It's going to draft my post. It's going to upload everything into Postgres, so the bots messages, my messages, all the important ID numbers that it needs to have. That way it's ready to be able to converse with on subsequent iterations. So let's come back to my post, to Slack. I've got a message here. So there's nothing like the energy of live classes with my school community. Seeing everyone engage and learn in real time makes it truly fun and rewarding. It's only okay. I'm going to ask it to edit in a second. But what it does is it tells me what it likes about my post. It also gives me some criticisms of my post, as well as tells me whether it thinks it's ready to post or not, or if it should really be updated first. So like I said, I don't think it's punchy enough. So I'm going to say, go ahead and pump up the energy, like that. Natural language, just pump up the energy, let the bot figure out what that means. It's going to go through the whole process again. This time it's not going to upload the image because it already has, but it is going to redraft my post. It's going to send it back to me here in Slack. Boom, right there. So live classes with my school community don't just happen, they ignite. Nothing beats that real-time energy, that spark when everyone's locked in and growing together. This is why I love doing this. That's great. It gives me what it likes again. It gives me its criticism again. In fact, I think it likes it, even though it says it probably needs more polish. I don't think it does. I think it's good enough to go. It probably could use more polish if I was really caring about this, but we're going to say, go ahead and post it. It looks good. Good. Like that. All right. So what's going to happen this time is it's going to go, instead of the drafting path, it's going to go on the post path, and it's going to upload the image and the post to Twitter. And so here in a second, I'm going to get a notification from the bot that it has been posted. All right, the tweet about live classes lighting up the school community is officially live. Wonderful. Let's come over to X. All right, so here is my last post was May 7th. Let's go, or 27th. Let's go ahead and refresh. And boom, there's my picture. There's my post 18 seconds ago. Beautiful, right? Bot posted. And like I said, it can take images. If you have Google Drive links, maybe you put your images into Google Drive. You can attach that instead. It's a wonderful bot. As always, you can get today's workflow by going to our free Skool community, where we keep all of our past workflows, training videos, tools, and templates. You can also join hundreds of AI enthusiasts all looking to grow their businesses with AI-powered automations. And make sure to join us on our Advanced community, where we have over 20 hours of additional AI and n8n training courses to help you learn how to ride this AI wave, as well as a group of committed AI-focused business owners, all looking to help each other grow and scale. All right, and let's actually dig into it, kind of node by node, show you what's going on here. So if you're familiar with my bots, you'll notice kind of this standard intro. The standard intro is a little bit different. This matches my other social media posting bots because I have this kind of branch up here that uses a spreadsheet in order to, not that spreadsheet, uses this spreadsheet here to be able to keep track of the posts that I'm making, as well as when it gets posted, the media IDs, that sort of thing. And so what we have is a Slack trigger. And so if you don't yet have a Slack bot, I will have a video link in the description below on how to set up a Slack bot. It's really simple, but set up your Slack bot credentials, the bot credentials, trigger on any event, channel to watch for, pick whatever channel you want the bot to be listening in, and make sure to ignore the bot ID or username. If you don't ignore the bot, it's going to create this endless feedback loop of the bot responding to itself, and it gets kind of hectic and a little scary, but make sure to ignore that, all right? So what we do is we run it through a code node. The code node is going to be pulling out a bunch of information. It's going to be pulling out our user ID, the exact text that we're asking it to do, the timestamp that we send the message, which is going to determine whether this is a thread. And if so, it's going to pull out the thread timestamp. It's going to pull out an array of all the files, and it's going to identify a session ID. Now, the session ID is dependent on whether this is the top level of a thread or if it's part of a thread. If it's at the top level of a thread, we use our user ID, colon, the word top. If it's part of the thread, it's the user, and then colon, and then the thread timestamp. All right, now one important thing as I'm getting into the next part of this bot, in order to get this to work on the first pass, so when you're uploading your images, you are not able to use an audio message to tell it what to write. And I just haven't figured out quite the right way to make that work yet. When you attach a file, the file takes the spot of file 0, which is the first file that it sees. Well, when you attach an audio file, that comes in as number 1. Or 2 or 3 or 4, depending on how many images you attach. So I wasn't quite sure how to set this up to be able to pull out the audio and all of the image files. And so currently it's just set up that it's looking for, here in this switch node, it's looking for whether or not file 0 has a file type of M4A, which is an audio, or a JPEG. And JPEG is the type of image that it's able to upload. And so it's either looking for an audio message or it's looking for a picture image. All right. And so then that goes to another switch node here. This other switch node is looking for that file type once more. If it is a JPEG, it's going to send it up the top branch for image processing. If it is an audio, then it's going to go to a totally different process. And so I've got this kind of weird conundrum. I'm not quite sure how to solve it. Maybe you have an idea. Let me know in the comments below on how to set this up in a slightly different way so that it's able to identify both images and the audio. But for all intents and purposes, it just works like this. If you are uploading images on the very first post, don't also send a voice command. Send a text message, tell it what to do. Everything else after that, you can send a voice message in order to update it. So just be aware of that, all right? So it's got 3 paths. First path is it's looking for that image. Second path is if you send a text message, and if in the first pass it should send both. And then subsequently you can send either text to the bot or you can send an audio message to it in order to instruct it on how to update it further. But let's go on the top branch real quick. We have an edit field node. We're just pulling out the files from the code node. That's essentially all we're doing. So it came out as an array. We're just going to go ahead and stringify it. It doesn't really matter. We're going to run that through a code node. The code node is going to pull out the file IDs, the URLs for them, and it's going to generate an array again of all of the different files that it found. So it's grabbing the files. Again, these are images. If you did the audio at the start, it's going to break. So just be aware of that. But you can attach a whole bunch of images. It's going to pull all of those out, and then it's going to put them into each as an item, a JSON item, and then it's going to upload it into a Google Sheet. So if you don't yet have Google Sheets set up in n8n, I'll have a link in the description below on how to set up your Google Cloud Console to be able to do this. But we have a resource as sheet within document. Operation is append row. Document is going to be our image links file here. This is the same spreadsheet I give away for all of my social media posting bots, so you may be familiar with it. The sheet we're pulling from is image links, so this first one. All right. And then what we're doing is we're sending these values. We're sending the timestamp that this message is being sent at, the very first message, right? The timestamp of that message, as well as the download URL that's being pulled out from that code node, which is being extracted from Slack. So whether it's one image or multiple images, it's going to pull all of those out, and it's going to create multiple or one or more rows in the Google Sheets, one for each of the images, and they will all have the same timestamp. All right, so that's important for moving forward. When we post these into Twitter, having the same timestamp means that it knows which ones it's supposed to put in there. All right. If you send a text message, we just have a edit field node that's just going to label it as text. And if you send an audio message, we have an HTTP node here. Method is get. The URL is our json.file0.url private download. So it's the download link to the audio message that we sent to Slack. You're going to set up your Slack OAuth 2 credentials. This is not the bot credentials. It's your OAuth 2 credentials. All right. And then we have a response. The response format is file. And we're going to put the output in a field called binary. That's then going to go through an OpenAI transcription node. So if you don't yet have OpenAI set up, I will have a link in the description below on how to set that up. But what we're doing is a resource of audio. Operation is transcriber recording, and our input data field name is binary because that's what we just passed through. All right. All of that information, whichever path it went through, is going to go through this merge node here. The merge node is just going to append each of these things together, pass it through this code node. The code node is just going to combine everything together into one item, one thing called output. And then that then gets sent down over to this edit fields node. This edit fields node is going to just kind of landmark a little bit of information as we process it a little bit further. It's going to take the text, whether that's from our text message or the transcribed audio that came out of the OpenAI node. It's going to put them all here in one spot called text. We're going to get our user ID, call it user. We're going to get our timestamp, the original timestamp of our message, the thread timestamp, if there is one from the Slack node, as well as our session ID that the code node was able to identify. Again, that's either going to end as top for the top of a thread, or it's going to be with the thread timestamp in it as part of the thread message. All right. Then it's going to then go through this if node here. This if node is asking or checking for whether the session ID contains the word top. If it does, then it's going to bypass our Postgres node here and go straight to this code node. If it has a thread timestamp, it will not say top. And in that case, it'll go to this Postgres node here. If you don't yet have your Postgres credentials set up, I have a link in the description below on how to set that up for you. All right. So for here, what we're going to do is we're going to be pulling information out of our Postgres database in order to get our conversation history with the bot. So what we have is an operation called select. Schema is public. Table is the bot table that you have for your chat for your bots. Mine's just called n8n Roger Chat. I have it set to a limit of 20. You can have that more or less, however many you expect to have in any given thread. But we're selecting the rows based on the session ID. And again, that session ID is based on the user ID, thread timestamp. All right, and that's coming from the Slack. And so it's going to pull all of that information out. And all of that's going to be put in later with other Postgres nodes based on this session ID. But for now, just understand that's how we're pulling it out. All right, that's then going to get put into this code node. This code node is going to take all of our conversation history that we've had with the bot, both the messages I've sent or you've sent and the bot has sent back to you. And it's going to order those all in chronological order so that the bot has that context moving forward of what was the conversation history? What did that look like? Message 1, message 2, message 3, so that it understands the full context of the conversation and what has already been done, what was been asked, and then we'll move forward from there. But it also is going to output several other items. It's going to give us an images timestamp, a Twitter image IDs as well. Now I have these other ones because I use this for my bots, just copy and paste it across my other social media posting bots. So it's all the same code, but it also can do Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Reddit image IDs. Those aren't relevant for this bot, but for a bigger operator bot that I have that's able to do any of these, it helps to have the ability to pull out all of that information. But for this one, just understand it's going to pull out the images timestamp and the Twitter image IDs. The Twitter image IDs, we'll talk about in a minute, but those are going to be the ID numbers, the media ID numbers that are given back from X, from Twitter to us to let us know what the image number was so that we can reference it again later. All right, so that when we post, that it's able to post the right image. And it's going to output all of that information, just kind of, it's going to dump it on us. It's going to give us the full combined content of our conversations. It's going to let us know the previous conversation chain. So again, this is part of a larger operator agent that I have that has this one bot as a tool. And so knowing which chain the bot has been on allows it to go back into my Twitter bot more easily. You may not necessarily need this, but maybe if you end up building out a bigger bot, this will be helpful in the future. We get the timestamp of our last message to the bot, our images timestamp, as well as our Twitter image IDs number. Okay, all of that gets merged together. All of the information from Slack, all the message, the text, all that from the Postgres gets merged together. And then we use one more edit fields node here in order to just landmark everything for the rest of the bot. So we're going to get our user ID, we're going to get our previous conversations, which includes our messages to the bot, as well as our previous conversation chain. We're going to get our current user request, the thing that we're asking the bot to do this time. We're going to get our timestamp, our images timestamp, so that number that was in there from when the images were put into the spreadsheet in the first place, as well as our Twitter image IDs, so the numbers that we get back from Twitter that tell us where our image can be found. All right. With all of that, we then get to like the real part of the bot. All right. And so that was all just kind of the intro. The rest is the real bot. Okay. So what we do is we start with a Google Sheets node. I get into here. This Google Sheets node, we are doing a get rows operation, pulling from our image links document, this one over here, and we're pulling based on our message timestamp. And so that is going to be pulled out of either the original spreadsheet when it was put in, because this is a first run, or if it's a second run, or a third or fourth, however deep into the thread you are, that image's timestamp is going to be pulled out of the code node and it's been put into that edit fields node. So either way, it's going to have this ID number here or here so that it knows what was the variable, what is the row that we're supposed to be looking at for our images. All right. So it's going to pull out those rows, and then each of those rows is going to be passed forward into one of these paths. And we have a little logic chain here of if nodes to determine where this is supposed to go. So our first if node is checking whether the image timestamp exists. And it's checking if an image timestamp exists in order to see whether we've uploaded an image. If we have uploaded an image, then it makes sense that it goes onto one of the paths where we uploaded an image. Or it's looking for a Twitter image ID, which means that an image has been uploaded. All right, and so whether that is because we attached a file or we included a Google Drive link that then got uploaded to Twitter and we got an image ID, one of the two, it's going to go up the top branch. Now the top branch here is then going to check whether our messages to the bot have ever contained this little phrase here, drive.google.com/file. And I'm asking the bot to check for this because if I attached a Google Drive link, I want that to go through a different process than if I attached an image. All right, so if it did not contain that Google Drive link, then it'll go up this top branch here and it's going to use our image posting section of the bot. If it did contain a Google Drive link, or if there was no image timestamp and there has not yet been a Twitter images ID, it'll go to this if node here. And this if node is checking again whether our current message includes that drive.google.com/file little snippet. So again, we're looking to see if we're asking it to do a Google Drive link. And so if it is or includes that, it'll go down this kind of blue section here for Google Drive processing. If it didn't contain any images, if it didn't contain any Google Drive links or any of that, then we're here in this kind of purple section, which is just for a text post. We just wanted to post some text. We then have a text classifier node. This text classifier node is determining whether or not our current message is asking it to post our post, or if it's supposed to be drafting something. So we give it our current message as well as our past conversations with the bot. And if it's our first message to the bot, then there won't be any past conversations. But if it's a subsequent conversation and it's not quite, if it's a subsequent conversation, it's going to get that information. We have two categories. One is send, one is draft. For the send branch, we are asking it to check for clear and explicit instruction to post, publish, schedule, or send a Twitter or X post. And it also has to have a valid Twitter or X draft in our previous conversations. So even if you say on your very first message to this, go ahead and post it, it's going to be like, what do you want me to post? Because there's no draft. It doesn't have it. All right. So it has to be able to go up the send path, your message to it has to be final approval for publication. You have to explicitly let it know that it's supposed to go ahead and post it or schedule it or put this up or something that's very clear that it's now supposed to send it. All right. So we give it some examples of things you might say. We allow it to know that it has contextual understanding of what's been going on, that there is a previous conversation chain, and the conversation history includes that past draft post, and we're giving it explicit approval. It has to have that information, otherwise it's not gonna post it. Otherwise, it's gonna go down this draft path here. The draft path is pretty much anything that's not a send path. So can you write me a tweet, or can we update it, or can we change this? Please do make those changes so it understands contextually that it knows it's supposed to reference what it told you versus just having you needing to explicitly tell it what to update. That giving it that past conversation allows it to have the full context of everything we've been saying to it. All right, and then if your post says something like "go ahead and post it," it's not supposed to go down the draft post because you're telling it to post it so long as it has that additional context, right? And so that's the draft path. We also have a system prompt here. System prompt is just kind of a mini version of those two. It's going to get your current message. It's going to get your prior conversation context as well as a previous conversation chain ID. And it's going to get a timestamp. That's not particularly relevant here. It's going to take those inputs. It's then going to make a determination of whether it's supposed to go via draft or via send. And so we kind of have many examples of those trigger conditions here. And then what not to do, don't classify something as a send unless you give it clear and explicit approval to post it. Don't classify it as draft unless you are asking for something to be made, right? You're asking for it to update it or to change it. If you just start having a conversation with this bot, it's not going to do anything. All right, so be aware that this bot is supposed to be made for posting, for drafting, but not just for conversation. If you try to have that, if you just say, hey, how are you today? It's not going to respond to you because it's not for Twitter posts. All right, so be aware of that. It's going to pick one of those two paths. If it picks the bottom path, be aware that the bottom path is fairly similar. It's not quite identical, but it's fairly identical to the bottom drafting path for the other two bots. Okay, so this is more or less the same as this here, All right. The only difference is on these other two paths up here, we're adding a little bit of extra context to our Postgres memory so that the bot fully understands the image ID aspect of it. But down here, we don't have the image IDs, and so we don't have to worry about it. Drafting. We have this AI agent here. It's hooked up to an OpenAI node. I have it set to 4.1 mini. You can use a different model if you want. I like 4.1 mini. But we have this write Twitter post AI agent. It's going to get our current message to it as well as our previous conversation history. It's then going to run it through this system prompt here. And again, the system prompt is near identical. In fact, I believe it is identical to the other drafting agents within the rest of this bot. So I'm going to skim those when I get to them because I'm going to cover it here. Just be aware that this is the agent, the system prompt that drafts it. And if you want to change how you draft it, you need to change it in all three of the drafting agents in this bot. All right, so it's a Twitter ghostwriter, a no-nonsense writer who turns user-provided visual or situational context into scroll-stopping tweets that grab attention, deliver insight, or share memorable moments with personality. Its job is to read and understand your description of a tweet that you want, and to write a single tweet that either delivers a powerful hook or insight, or shares a personal moment or reaction in a natural, authentic voice. Now, you'd want to update this part here in order to be able to get it to match your voice, all right? It's not analyzing any images, it's interpreting your prompt about something, about an image or a moment. It doesn't have to. In this case, like I said, it's the same exact prompt. It says image, it doesn't have to. Just we can erase image from here. Doesn't really matter. Just be aware that if you're going to adjust one, adjust all three of the drafting ones, okay? Context interpretation. It's going to get your prompt requesting a tweet that explains something. We're just going to say something. Explain something, why they matter or what they say about them. Okay, sometimes a draft tweet or idea the user wants to upgrade. Understand your description or what the moment represents. Write a high impact tweet that matches the prompt's intent. All right, and then no mentioning of any images. We don't even need that because there's no images on this path. And here are the different types of posts that it can do. You can do an operator, a snapshot lesson, a bold claim, a process drop, an insight hit, a personal moment or reaction. Again, you can change that all to yourself, to your own personal needs, whatever you need your Twitter bot to do. We give it some output rules: strong open, match the intent, speak with confidence, write with conviction. We don't need to care about the image because there are no images. I'll just erase that really quick. And write like a human, not a brand. Then no mentioning images. Again, don't need that. No requesting more context. No repeating your words back to you. No using emojis. No writing threads. Don't build up to the point. It should just say it, right? It's a tweet. It's got to be small. Don't sound like a social media manager or brand. Don't use explosives. And then we give some examples here. I wouldn't worry too much about the examples. It just kind of shows it how it needs to output stuff. All right. And then what will happen is after it drafts the post, we then have another AI agent that's going to take that post, take your current message, take your previous history of conversation with it, and then it's going to write a response to you to send back to you via Slack. And so what it's doing here is it's going to take your tweet, it's going to deliver the raw tweet exactly how it received it. It's going to frame it so that you understand that this is the draft. So it's going to draft it with these three dashes above and below it. It's then going to review it. And we tell it how to review it down here. But it needs to be specific and constructive. And then it's going to make a recommendation of whether or not it thinks it's ready to post. And so it's going to open with style, display the draft confidently, and never use quotes. Quotes are bad because they break Postgres. It's going to follow with feedback, and then close with the verdict of whether it thinks it's ready to post or not. So then we give it some style recommendations on how to speak to you. You can adjust all of this for yourself. Never make it about the bot. It has to be about the user. If it thinks that it's a good tweet, it should tell you it's a good tweet. Do not edit the tweet. It's not allowed to do that. No breaking character as an AI. No dropping the tweet without setting the scene. It really needs to let you know that this is a tweet. No offering generic or vague feedback, and never using quotes. Quotes are bad. All right, once it drafts that post, it's then going to send it back to you via Slack. So you're going to set up your bot credentials here. The resources message, operation is send. We're sending to a channel. So it'd be the channel that the bot lives in that you want to send in and have it respond to. Message type is simple text message. Our message text is the output of the AI agent that just made the message for us. And then we're going to be responding to the timestamp of our message thread in Slack. And so that's how it makes sure it gets added to the thread and creates a thread in the first place. That then gets thrown through this edit field node here. The edit field node is going to create our session ID. Remember that session ID that said get pulled out earlier? Well, this is where it gets created in these edit field nodes. So it's going to take our user ID from our landmark edit field node way before, colon, then the session, the thread timestamp ID number from the Slack message that the bot just sent us. That's how we create our session ID number. We're going to create a text field based on what the bot just sent us. We're going to log the user ID one more time. We're going to log the previous conversation chain as Twitter and set the time added as now. We then are going to upload all of this information to Postgres so that we're able to have the conversation history that I've been mentioning. Our first one here is going to be an operation insert, schema public, set it to the table for your chatbot. Our session ID is just going to be json.sessionID, the thing that we were just setting in our edit field node. And then we have this message here. So the first message I have as type as a human, and then data, I'm grabbing my message from when I sent it to the bot in the execution of this iteration of the message to the bot. So it's pulling it from Slack, but in this case, it's technically the landmark, which was pulling it from my Slack trigger. I also have all these dot replaces here. These dot replaces will pull out any extra offending marks that might potentially break Postgres. And there's lots of them. So quotes will break it, curly braces will break it, all kinds of stuff break Postgres. So I strip out as many of them as I can. That way the information is uploaded into Postgres properly. We then have a time added so that it's able to put everything into chronological order. And then we go on to the next Postgres node here, which is going to upload the bot information. So again, operations insert, schema public, table is the table that you have for your chat for your bot. Session ID is just json.session_ID. And then our message here type is bot, not human. Data, our content, is going to be the message that the bot sent to us via Slack. So this is referring to the Slack node. And then we have all the dot replaces to remove any extra offending marks in case the bot added some extra quotes. We have our time added, which is just now. And then we have responding to, which is our user ID. Previous conversation chain is Twitter. All right. And so all of that would be then uploaded into Postgres in order for it to be able to call it again when we go back through. So say that we've asked it to draft something, it drafts it for us. We then say, go ahead and post it. It's pulled out that information back out of Postgres. So when it comes back to this text classifier, the text classifier now sees the previous draft and sees our current message that says post it, and it's going to go up the top path. And so this one here, this AI agent's job is to get our draft and to be able to pass just the draft forward, nothing else, just the draft. So it's getting our current message and the past conversations with the bot. This bot, really simple. All it does, it's zero thought, zero opinion. It's a retrieval agent. It's going to scan our conversation history for the most recent fully written tweet. It's going to return that tweet only with no extra commentary, no analysis, no headers, and it needs to preserve it identically to what it found. So a direct copy of the finalized tweet text, free of any system notes or explanations or context, and immediately ready to be delivered to Twitter via n8n. So text only, no emojis or symbolic characters. And the only reason I have that in there is because when I've tried to do emojis, they don't translate. They don't turn into emojis when you send emoji text, because there's a way to write emojis. It doesn't translate it. So I just tell it not to do it so it doesn't look all janky in the tweet. All right. So it's you receive a command to post it and the previous conversation history. Its job is to find the tweet and to copy it exactly and return only that tweet. No paraphrasing, no summarizing, no omitting extra line breaks, anything. It needs to return it exactly how we gave it and no other way. All right. That tweet then gets thrown into this X node here. If you do not yet have your X credentials set up, I can't believe I'm this far into this video. I haven't mentioned this. I have a link in the description below on how to set up your X credentials. All right. Go ahead and watch that video, set up your credentials. It doesn't take all that long. And here we're using our OAuth 2 credentials. All right. So in that video, I show you how to set up both OAuth 2 and the OAuth 1. Here, in order to post the tweet, we're using OAuth 2. All right. Resource is tweet. Operation is create. Our text is simply json.output, the output from the previous AI node, and it will post it directly to Twitter. It will then go to this AI agent here, which is going to get the tweet that it just sent, or the bot just sent, and it's then going to frame it for us so that we know that it sent it. All right, so that's all its job is to do, is to send me a message just like Patty did over here to let me know that the tweet is live and that it's up and it's all good. So let's see, it's going to deliver the report, let the user know the tweet is live and in play, frame it like this outcome was always expected, and when responding, open with style. This is not just a dry update. It's not going to just go, the tweet has been posted. It's going to be like, hey, the tweet's good to go. It's live. It's going to act like a human. I want my bot to seem a little more human than a robot. Confirm the action. The tweet is live. People are seeing it. All right. Speak directly to the user. You're sharp, polished, and quietly charismatic. No over-explaining. No referencing the draft. No breaking character. And no offering any critiques or feedback. It's too late for that, right? So then it's then going to send it to us via Slack. We've seen this before, kind of down on this path here. This is kind of my standard ending to all my bots usually. And so it's the same process. It's going to send it to us via Slack. It's going to have an edit field node. It's going to upload the human message and then upload the bot message to Postgres. And so here we got Slack. You got your bot credentials, message, send, channel into the bot channel, simple text message, and then the output is what the bot had, or the AI just wrote for us. and it's responding to that timestamp. That way, it's always going to be in the thread. We have our edit field node here that's going to just map a few items into place here. And then we have our Postgres node, same as we just saw down below, insert public into the chat table with our session ID. Human is the type. Content is our message to the bot that we sent it at the beginning with a bunch of dot replaces and our timestamp. And then the next one is the bot message. So insert public into the chat table, session ID, type is bot. The content, the message is that the one that the bot sent via Slack. It's got all of these dot replaces with our timestamp. It's responding to the user ID. And that's there just in case you want later to be able to find the messages that the bot has sent to you. All right. And then our previous conversation chain, we're going to label as Twitter. That's if we do just a text post. Now, it seems like this video may go on forever if I have to explain like every single aspect of that all over again. So I'm only going to cover really the things that changed between the basic just text post and these other image texting sections of this bot. All right. And for all intents and purposes, the endings are more or less the same. I'll explain why this one looks different, but understand the bot is going to the drafting is the same. It's going to draft the post. It's going to send us the draft via Slack. It's going to set some fields, upload the human message, and then there's a little bit here I'll explain. But here it sends the confirmation, Slack, edit field, 2 Postgres nodes, and up here same thing. The ending's more or less the same, so I'm going to kind of breeze through those. Now, the Google Drive. If you have a Google Drive image, you've uploaded your image to Google Drive, maybe you took a picture on your phone, put it into Google Drive for further processing, had it photoshopped or something, right? But now it lives in Google Drive. You can use that Google Drive link and put it right into your message to the Slack bot, and it'll extract out that link to be able to download the image and then put that into Twitter. And so that's what this process here is, all right? So we have an if node that's going to check whether our current message to the bot contains a Google Drive link. All right, here we got drive.google.com/file. If it does not contain it, it's going to bypass the download section. If it does contain it, then it's going to go and kind of go through the normal drafting or posting process we just talked about. So if we get that Google Drive link in our current message to the bot, it's going to come down here to this code node. This code node, all it's doing is it's pulling out all of the Google Drive links, and then it's just going to list them. It's going to list them as separate items, and it's separate items because maybe you attach more than one image. And so each of those items is then going to go through this loop here where it goes through, and the loop is set to a batch of 1. It's going to go to this Google Drive node. And again, Google Drive, if you don't have that set up yet, I'll have a link in the description below on how to do the Google Cloud Console. All right, that's where Google Drive lives. Resources file. Operation is download. The file that we're downloading is going to be json.drive_link, and that's coming out of the code node. It's going to be called drive link. All right. It's going to download that, and it's going to output it as a binary. It's going to call it binary. That binary file is then going to go through this edit image node, which is going to resize the image to 50% because your image is probably too big. It's definitely going to be too big to upload, most likely. You never know. Either way, we're going to shrink it down. That way it meets all the criteria for posting wherever it needs to be posted. All right, so be aware of that if you don't want it shrunk, you can either remove this node or just make your images bigger. One of the two. Either way, we then have this HTTP node, which is set to post. Our URL is https://upload.com/1.1/media/upload.json. All right. That's the endpoint that we need to send our images to in order to upload them to Twitter before we post them. You're going to set up your Twitter credentials, your OAuth 1 credentials. Again, the link in the description below will explain how to do that. We're going to send a body. Body content type is form data. Parameter type is n8n binary file. Name is going to be media. Input data field name is binary because that's the file that we've downloaded, right? Parameter type is going to be form data. Additional owners, you need to put in your Twitter ID number. All right, I have another node up here, right? It's up here in the green section. Be aware of it. This is how you're going to be able to get your Twitter ID number. So if I just open this up, you're going to have this endpoint here. It's a get method. It's got an endpoint here of https://api.twitter.com/2/users/by/username/ and then you would put your username in here. All right, this is my username. You're going to put your username in here, set up your credentials, and then just hit execute step. And what it's going to do is it's going to run it, and it's going to give you your ID number. All right, then with your ID, you come back down here to this node, and you're going to put in your number right in there. All right, that's, if you don't do that, you're not going to be allowed to upload it to your page. At least when I tried it, it wouldn't let me upload my images to my page, even though I was uploading it via my credentials. It didn't make any sense, but it's how it worked. Anyway, the loop is going to go through all of your images. It's then going to aggregate those all together into one list and then run it through this code node here. This code node is going to create an array of all of the media ID numbers that come out of Twitter. So when this uploads an image, it's going to generate a media_ID. And each of those ID numbers needs to be pulled out and logged so that you have them for posting later when you tell it to post. All right. And so let's see here. What we're going to do is then it goes up to this text classifier node. Same text classifier node as we saw down here. It's going to determine whether it's ready to send on the top branch or if we're going to draft on the bottom branch. If we're drafting, it's going to draft the post. It's then going to send us the draft, or it's going to redraft it for us. It's then going to send it to us via Slack. It's going to set the fields. Here, there's one slight difference. Maybe it's not on that one. It uploads the human information to Postgres, same as before. Everything's been the same. But then we have this if here. All right, so I'm going to come over here and zoom in real quick. We have this if node here. This if node is looking to see whether way back on the landmark edit fields node, we have an item called Twitter image IDs that exists. All right, because it was either going to exist or it was going to be null. If it's null, then it's going to come down this bottom path. So that would be really the first time that it's uploaded images. The bottom path is then going to set a field called Twitter image IDs, and it's going to have a string of those Twitter image IDs. And the image IDs are technically an array, so it's making a string of an array, but don't worry about that. It's not particularly important. I do sort the whole thing out later in the bot in order to get it to work. I guess you could set this to array and then have that be put in, but there's no need to change anything. If those image IDs do exist, because this is a second or more pass, you're asking it to update the draft, it'll go up this top path, and all it's going to do is it's going to just set those image IDs one more time based on what the image IDs were in the landmark edit field node. All right, so we're just setting it to the same number. It then aggregates it. It's only going to go down one of the paths, but aggregate worked. So it's just going to pull all of those together into one path. It's then going to upload the bot message to Postgres. So operations insert, schema is public, table is the chatbot table. Session ID, the session ID is what we're pulling from this Postgres node here. So we're calling from here back to this Postgres node. And then for the bot, let me open this up so you can see it. Type is bot. Data is going to contain a whole bunch of stuff, but the content is our message. This is the message that the bot sent to us via Slack, and we have all these dot replaces. The time added is now, so we are able to get it into chronological order, responding to our user ID via Slack. It's going to attach the timestamp, the image's timestamp that it got. And the image's timestamp, way over here, is the image's timestamp. It pulled it from somewhere else. Where did that pull it from? It pulled it from the update Postgres with new message 1. That's from here. Do I have images? Aha. Yes, I don't have that. And I don't have that because there's no images, but I just copied and pasted from another path. So don't worry about that. It's going to be null. Twitter image IDs, that's the Twitter image IDs are the ID numbers that we got from our media IDs when we uploaded our images to Twitter. And I have a whole bunch of dot replaces because when I ran this, even though I've been running this for a while, when I was running this to test it to make the video, all of a sudden, like a quote broke it. Like, why would there be a quote? Like it's a stringified array, so there's quotes in it, but why did it break it? Anyway, I added the dot replaces and it fixed it. So it's gonna upload to Postgres, no problem. And then previous conversation chain is Twitter. All right, when we then tell it to post, because again, that was the drafting path. When we tell it to post, it's gonna come up this top branch here. And this top branch is more or less the same as it was down here for our text posts. So it's going to pull out that last draft that we had, our final draft. It's then going to use this edit field node here. It's going to take that edit field node, and I guess, yeah, it's going to take that edit field node. This edit field node is going to take the tweet that the AI agent just pulled out, and it's going to go grab our media IDs, our Twitter image IDs, out of our landmark edit field node. So it's going to have two fields, the tweet and media IDs. That's going to be passed into this code node. The code node is going to take those media ID numbers and it's going to structure them in the way that it needs to be structured in order to be put into Twitter in order to be able to properly send. I don't remember exactly how it does that. This is just a whole bunch of ifs and else ifs, and I'm not sure exactly how it outputs it. All I know is it outputs it correctly. So that's what we do here. We have, instead of an X node, we have an HTTP node, and we're doing a post method to the URL https://api.twitter.com/2/tweets using our OAuth 2 credentials. All right, OAuth 2 is for posting. We have a header, content-type is application/JSON, just like we had on the other path. We're going to send a body. Now the body is where we're going to put our tweet and our image or our media IDs. All right. And so here we're going to put our text as the text from their edit field node, which we call tweet. And then we have all this extra code here. So media and then media IDs. And then here is where we're going to be putting our, the array that is it's a stringified array that got pulled out of, again, the code node should have turned it back into an array. And then it's going to pull out any extra quotes and it's going to join them with commas and it makes it exactly how Twitter expects it to be made. All right. I don't remember exactly. All I know is that I went through hours of trial and error in order to get this to work, and this works. So the code node processes it the way it needs to be. It's going to put it into the Twitter body post the way it needs to be. And when it gets uploaded in Twitter, it's going to post those images, no problem. We then come in to this AI node, which is going to make our confirmation message to us. Again, nothing special about it. It's just getting the tweet. And then it's going to draft a confident deliver the report message that says, hey, the tweet has been posted. It's good to go. It's live. It's then going to send us to us via Slack. Again, same credentials as before. You've seen all this. It's going to have this edit field node. This edit field node, you'll notice, doesn't have any extra like image IDs or anything like that. It doesn't need them. It uploads the human message, all like we've had before, and then it uploads the bot message. The bot message has the time added, all right, has the content from the Slack message, the time added, the responding to user ID, and previous conversation chain. There's no point in having the media IDs now because as soon as they're posted, they disappear. They're no longer any good. They've been used. So I just removed that out. Last branch, more or less exactly the same. In fact, it is exactly the same for this minus one small tweak kind of in here in the edit field nodes and in the loop. So let's come in here real quick. So we have our loop. Our if is going to check whether we have a Twitter ID number. All right. And that Twitter ID number is based off of this Google spreadsheet here. So if I come in here, does this column have a Twitter ID number? All right. If it does, then it's going to go and bypass it. It's going to go to the draft path or the send path. If it does not yet have a Twitter ID number, it's going to go through this loop, single loop, one at a time. It's going to download the image files from Slack. And again, these image files are actually now here saved in Slack as well. All right. So, but it's pulling it from the original Slack message that went through the code node. The code node gave us all those URLs. And because it's a loop, if you had multiple images here being pulled out of the Google Sheet, it'll have multiple rows, and each of those is an item that gets processed. And so that's how it ends up into the loop. Each one ends up in the loop. So each one will come into this HTTP node. We're using a get method based on the file URL. That file URL, again, is these guys here in the spreadsheet. And that's being pulled again from Slack. You set up your Slack OAuth 2 credentials, and we have a response format of file. Output in field is binary. That's then going to be shrunk using this edit field node 50%. If you don't want it shrunk, you can either remove the node or otherwise make your pictures bigger. We then have this upload image to Twitter node. It's an HTTP node. Method is post. It's the same endpoint that we did to be able to send to the OAuth 1 endpoint, so 1.1 as before. So that's why we're using our OAuth 1 credentials here, not our OAuth 2 credentials. OAuth 1 credentials. Body content type, so sending this as a body, is form data. Parameter type is n8n binary file. Name is media. Input data field name is binary. Our parameter type is form data with additional owners, and that image, or the Twitter ID number that I showed you how to get before, you have to put that there using this node right here. All right, it's just hanging out by itself. The Twitter ID number that we get is then going to be uploaded into the Google Sheets node. All right, the Google Sheets node is going to then take that Twitter ID number for each of the image files that were uploaded and process them this way. You'll notice this is different than it was for the Google Drive method. Google Drive did not upload any image ID numbers to the Google Sheet. And the reason why was because there was no images added to the Google Sheet originally, because it was all from a Google Drive link. When we attach the files to this bot, the images got put into the spreadsheet in order to be able to save the links, save the timestamp and all of that for processing. Remember I said that earlier, that I was going to tell you that in a few minutes? Well, finally got back to it. All right, that allows us to match our timestamps, so this one, match our timestamps to our URL of our image to our file ID. And so that way, moving forward, the bot is able to process the right images moving forward. Good. Once it goes through that loop process, it aggregates all of our outputs together, all of our image ID numbers. It's then going to go through this code node. The code node's going to slap all of those Twitter ID numbers together into one array. And then we go through that same process that we just did down here for Google Drive. Right? There's no functional difference. It's going to draft the draft tweet post for us. It's going to send us that draft. It's going to send it via Slack. Then in this edit field node here, we have one additional field here called images_TS. And that's to be able to log the timestamp of the image here in the spreadsheet, so that when it gets uploaded into the bot over here, the bot Postgres table, it's going to upload the images timestamp as well as the Twitter image IDs. That way, it's able to go back when it pulls out all that context from our Postgres table. It's going to have the images timestamp, and that images timestamp is going to be able to allow us to be able to pull from the spreadsheet, and that spreadsheet then allows us to be able to make sure that everything's logged properly moving forward for images that we've attached to the bot. All right, I know this was a complicated bot. I know there was a lot going on. It took me a long time to figure out how to get this to all work. So let me finish it off real quick. Once we tell it to send, all right, so again, all the rest of this process was the same as what I mentioned down here, and it was mostly the same as down here. When we tell it to send, it's going to find that post again, the final draft. It's going to set it in a field here called tweet, that draft post, a final draft. It's going to grab our media IDs. It's grabbing those from our landmark edit field node and from the field called Twitter image IDs. It's then going to process them through this code node, pretty much the same one we just saw on the drive path. Upload it all to Twitter. Method is post. Here's an HTTP node. Method is post. URL is https://api.twitter.com/2/tweets. Using our OAuth 2 credentials from Twitter. Our headers, we're going to have a header of content-type. The value is application/JSON. And we're going to send a body. The body is going to be the same as what we sent via the drive method as well. So this is all the same. So we're going to send the text, which is our tweet. And then we're going to send a media item with media IDs with an array. And inside that array is going to be our list of images separated in the way that it needs to be based on the way the code node separated them in order to be able to post to Twitter properly. And so then it'll post either one or more images to Twitter for you. It's then going to draft that confirmation message that we've discussed a couple times. It's going to send it to you via Slack. It's going to set all that information in the edit field node here. It's then going to upload the information, the human information, to Postgres. All right, we've covered this before. It's then going to upload the bot message to Postgres. We've covered that before. It's then got two last nodes, and these are Google Sheets in order to finalize out our Google Sheets node, finalize out our sheet here to make sure that everything has been logged properly. And so what we do is we're getting our rows based on our images timestamp being pulled from our landmark edit field node. So that's going to grab our images based on their number here. It's going to give us however many items that we have, one or more, and it's then going to mark them as posted. All right, so we're going to add to the column of Twitter posted, which is this column here. And it's going to add a timestamp for when it gets posted. That way we know that it has been posted when it has been posted, and everything is hunky-dory. So that is the Twitter posting bot. I know it's a beast. It seems like a beast. And in all honesty, it's actually really simple to use because most of it's already set up. There's a few credentials you have to set up, a few little tweaks you might have to change, change the system prompts in order to change the type of messaging you want to have or how it drafts your tweets. But the structure, it took me a really long time to be able to figure this out for you, and it works really well. I really enjoy getting to use this bot. It was actually the first of the social media bots that I made. I based my Instagram and my Facebook and my LinkedIn bots off of this one. And so it's really kind of the cornerstone of all the different social media bots that I've been able to make. And it was a really fun one to do because it took a lot of time and a lot of thinking to be able to figure out how to make it for you. So if you found this video helpful, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, like and share the video. It really does help get this content out there to those who need it. And if you would like a copy of today's workflow, click the link in the description below. I have my link to my free school community there. You can download this workflow right now along with the spreadsheet that goes along with it. In addition to a bunch of other free workflows and n8n tutorials and agentic systems tutorials and all kinds of great information. I've got social media posting bots, executive assistants, lead scrapers, and so much more, all for free in the community. As always, I'm Bradford Carlton. Let's automate your success together.